What is going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
And I'm Pat.
We're best friends, and you're listening to the Reminiscent Podcast. They say you can't choose your family. Well, you also can't choose which era of music you grew up in. This is a weekly show where we discuss our favorite bands from adolescence and how they continue to shape our lives today. Each week, we'll head back to the early 2000s and take a closer look at the cards we were dealt.
Puddle of Mudd has been described as nu metal, post-grunge, and by you, as butt rock. What are your thoughts heading into this episode?
They're all apt. I'll say that. I don't know. I'm looking forward to this episode, though. Like, really looking forward to it.
Me too. I guess I didn't realize they were as popular as they were.
Yeah.
The album Come Clean was actually super successful. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. Next week, we're going to do Ohio is for Lovers by Hawthorne Heights, which is a little more in the wheelhouse of the show. But it feels like it's been so long since we've been covering the innocent days of Adam Schlesinger in the Fountains of Wayne tree of influence in the decade. And we've been kind of on a nu metal tear lately, which hopefully comes to an end soon. But probably won't if we look at the Grammy nominations in the rock category from 2001 to 2003. So, there are going to be these days. And when you're having a bad day, there's nothing like the song She Hates Me to get you through it. So, I guess we can start with a few fast facts. Or fun facts? Have we even named the segment?
Fast fact fun facts.
They're fun and they're going to come at you fast.
Sounds good.
And the third F, if we're doing triple F, would be probably the song because this is the episode that we're doing today. It was actually written in 1993, even though it was released in 2002. The band's CD Come Clean, or album Come Clean, has sold over 5 million copies, which She Hate Me was on.
Oh my God.
Yes. No, the Puddle of Mudd band is disturbingly successful. So just buckle up.
Puddle of Mudd runs deep.
The Puddle of Mudd runs. Muddy water runs deep. It hit on the Billboard Hot 100. It peaked at number 13, but it wasn't as successful as the number 5 hit Blurry by the band that came off that same record, which I didn't know I knew that song. I didn't know the name of that song. But
yeah, same.
Kind of similar to the Hoobastank episode, which is kind of like, oh, wow, I know like 3 songs of this band. And it's kind of sends you in a weird funk for the rest of the day when you're coming to terms with how the decisions you've made in your life and everything like that. But it became the Puddle of Mudd's second single to sell over 500,000 copies in the United States after Blurry. Just crazy. But it wasn't always wine and roses for the band. Sounds like they formed in 1991 in Kansas City. The lead singer Wes Scantlin, Jimmy Allen wrote the song. He was the lead guitarist at the time, about a breakup. But it sounds like the band broke up in early 1999, which is kind of crazy what happens next, because apparently Scantlin somehow got a copy of a demo tape to Fred Durst, who, found it and was like, I got to have these guys, I guess, or whatever. Picture the most generic, music industry phone call or something, perhaps. But apparently Fred Durst gave him their start.
Of Limp Bizkit fame, for those who don't know who Fred Durst is.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, of Limp Bizkit fame, Limp Bizkit was nominated for a Best Rock Album Grammy in the year 2000, and this is just a period of time we've chosen to cover, and it's just something that we just have a lot of fun with every week. There's no bruises on that resume in that period of time. It's all just really fun and nice to revisit. But the lead single from the album Come Clean, which was released in August 2001, was named Control. It was a theme song for WWE's Survivor Series, which is critically acclaimed. Blurry was also on that album, like we mentioned. And it was actually the 4th single, She Hates Me. We already talked about a little bit of how well it did. Does this surprise you at all? And how did you learn about the song? And was it the first song you had heard at the time from this album? Were you even aware of the band? Or what was your introduction to this fine act, these young nu metal men?
All right, there were like 7 questions in there. Gosh, Yeah, I mean, going into this episode, I was thinking, oh, this will be fun to do, kind of like the one hit wonder kind of band, whatever. And then I realized like they were hella famous for several other songs, and like in songs that I knew. And it was surprising because like I feel like She Hates Me. It was like, oh yeah, this is Puddle of Mud, because it was such a God, not a meme. It just like took the LimeWire by storm at the time. But Blurry obviously I think had more airplay because it was a much cleaner song. It did surprise me that they were so successful for other stuff, because I only equated them to She Hates Me, just in the way that I only equated Hoobastank to The Reason and Egg on My Face a couple episodes ago. But I loved this song because when it came out, I had just turned 10 and things were real angsty, man.
Yeah, it's a good age to be upset.
Yeah.
Or the beginning of many years of being not 100% happy. I think it's a good song. It was like a gift.
Yeah.
Thanks, Puddle of Mud.
It came at the perfect time. But what's funny is, this song, oh God, I mean, it's problematic at best, but it's a bop. We'll leave it at that for now. But She Hates Me, it's obviously about a kind of relationship sort of deal. No subtext there. But
Can we play a quick game real quick?
Sure.
What would be, if you went on lyricmeaning.com or whatever the website is, what would be the worst, most obvious explanation of these lyrics if you had to paraphrase and guess what is written on that website right now?
I looked earlier, and I think it might have been for the line, like, I was living one big lie. It's like the songwriter obviously realized he was living a lie. And I was like, what?
It's not even a fun game to play because the website's so thorough and they have to go through each line like that. Like, turns out this is a relationship gone sour, as the author mentions, and our protagonist, which is, it's hard to tell whether it's the man or woman at this point. But yeah, this relationship is doomed, as you can tell. So
sour, one could say. So
the lyric "She was queen for about an hour" roughly translates to the fact that, no, just kidding. But
so, at 10, I hadn't experienced relationship issues. My sister is just over 2 years older than me, just under 2 years older than me. Over? Damn it, under. Anyways, she introduced me to the song, got it on LimeWire, and we had a real stepfather. And so like things were kind of, rough at our house. So we actually changed the song lyrics, and we would just like scream, "I fucking hate you," talking about our stepdad. So like the song couldn't relate to us in a way that was topical for the lyrics, but we kind of changed it to fit our own angst we were dealing with at the time. And this was kind of like our little bit of like pushback to, the horrible stepdad we had. So I don't know. The song was just, it was like my sister and I getting together, finger to the man is kind of what it felt like. But it's funny because that's like not at all the topic of the song, but that's kind of what we made it into. So yeah.
Let's ask this question. Is the song more of a feeling? Does it rise above the lyrics itself?
I think it totally does. I mean, I talk about it all the time.
Because we're about to talk about how problematic the band is and the controversies facing the lead singer.
Sure.
But I kind of want to put the song, and we'll talk about the video at the end because I love the music video. I think it's terrific and very self-aware. But I want to talk just in a vacuum. I think it's hard to argue that it's not a hit song, right? Like we run into these songs every once in a while that, whether it's the phrasing or the hook, in any genre or decade, generally it would be something that would catch somebody's ear. I think, again, with all the Fred Durst aside, giving them their big break. I don't know. It's got something. It's got a special energy. Blurry is like a good nu metal song, but She Hates Me is kind of a timeless, like, crank the car stereo up a little bit and be angry for a minute in traffic.
It's really interesting to me that this was the fourth single on the album, because it plays like it was written as the first single, because it's so obviously hook heavy. Like, it's all about the chorus. It's just screaming "she fucking hates me," and then la 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 la, like you get the la la la's in there. Like, it is so obviously meant to be the banger. And to me, like, I mean, the verses are kind of more what's problematic, but like, this song is just the chorus to me. You could just play the chorus on repeat for 3.5 minutes, and I don't think the song would lose anything.
It's a pretty confusing band because if people go look up Blurry right now, as well as that, what was the name of the other band that the plagiarism accusation stemmed from?
Ooh, Suicidal Tendencies.
Yeah, Suicidal Tendencies song, I Saw Your Mommy. Listen to that. Listen to Blurry while you're listening to this episode. It's kind of a weird thing because Blurry was definitely like, okay, I can see how that song was played on the radio in 2002 or the early 2000s, given, the climate and everything, or state of music. But She Hates Me kind of, you assume looking back that it's going to be this one-hit wonder. We did Wheatus last week where, they're more than the song Teenage Dirtbag, but also in a sense, without that song, it'd be a very different story for that band. It's weird because I guess looking back, it's weird because of how hokey might be the wrong word, but Blurry was just such a different type of post-grunge hit.
Yeah.
That it's weird that this song was even on the same album. I guess, yeah. And then you look at how many records the album sold. I guess it's a treat to the listener, I'm sure, as you go through the record, Come Clean or whatever. It's odd to me that both hits came off the same record because it's almost like one's a kind of a tongue-in-cheek effort and the other is like we're a serious band type thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, which, as
it's just next to each other, it's like, interesting.
Well, I think as a debut album, they were just kind of casting a wide net, perhaps, trying to cover all the bases, see what hit, and somehow kind of like all of them did, right?
Yeah, I guess the classic, not their first record, but the first record seemingly after they reformed, he went out, got Durst's ear, then they reformed a band, and this was technically their debut album, even though it wasn't, but it kind of is because they were getting notoriety for the first time and they had reformed and everything. But it was like a decade's worth of songs kind of built up. So kind of as the story goes, sophomore albums are generally worse because of a band, once they break through, they have all those songs that they've been working on for so long. But yes, I like it. I don't know if I like Puddle of Mud based on what we're about to talk about next. I will ask you this before we dive into Chapter 2 of this fine adventure, Choose Your Own Adventure. Have you ever heard of a little tour called the Family Values Tour?
No.
So apparently after the success of Come Clean and everything, they started touring they opened for Godsmack and Deftones.
Oh my God.
And were part of what was called a Family Values Tour, which we always talk about that commercial that we can't really put a finger on, but the, as you would, the butt rock compilation commercials back when CD commercials used to come on, like featuring X, and then the songs would scroll across the screen in white, but the yellow songs were what was playing in the commercial at the time.
All the hardest rocking hits from 2001 to today.
Featuring Puddle of Mud.
Yeah.
Anyway, apparently the Family Values Tour featured a lot of those acts. They were also sharing the stage with Linkin Park, Stone Temple Pilots, and Stained. The album Come Clean was actually certified triple platinum in the US. By 2003, so it only took 2 years.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I know. It's CD sales back in the day. I hope those fellows are doing well. I guess, or maybe I don't. I don't know. We're about to delve into some interesting things here. But another quick note: as of late 2006, total sales worldwide were in excess of 5 million copies. So,
Jesus Christ.
Plenty, some might say.
And they made $45 off of all those sales, I bet.
$45 million. Sure. You come here for the bad Austin Powers impressions, everybody. That's what the show's built on, for sure. Sorry to everyone for everything per usual. So yeah, they are accused of plagiarizing the riffs from the song, and Scantlin, the lead singer, has been accused on several instances of lip syncing and was apparently caught twice of doing so, once in Versailles or Versailles, Ohio. Sometimes at least there's a town in Indiana where they mispronounce it, so I apologize for not doing the research on that. But how do you feel about this?
That is so not butt rock.
Hey, it's not staying true to the subgenre for sure. So here's a couple quotes he mentioned. So problematic, right? He's had run-ins with the law. He's had substance abuse issues. Hopefully he's passed all that. I haven't read any current write-ups. All the album reviews, they came out with a new album this year. I couldn't read anything about whether or not, I'm sure he's sober at this point, which is probably for the best, obviously. But he's been quoted about like distancing himself from the Fred Durst stuff. Here's the quote. Are you ready? Or I guess I should ask, would you like to hear the quote?
I would love to.
So the first one he said about Fred in 2004 was, he doesn't write our songs, he doesn't produce our songs, he doesn't do anything for us. He doesn't do our videos anymore. He doesn't do anything for this band. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what the guy's like. All I know is that he's like Mr. Hollywood guy, Mr. Celebrity. Like, I don't hang out with anybody except Hollywood celebrities. Every single fucking interview I've ever fucking done, I get asked about that fucking guy. He added, and for me to do interviews all the time and be asked about this certain individual, people think he writes me music with me or something. He does not do that. I just don't get it. We have nothing in common. He doesn't even call us. He has his assistant call us to congratulate us on our record. Yeah, that's how pathetic he is. Ooh. And then by 2008, he took a bit of a step back and said, quote, Fred got our foot in the door and helped us tremendously. I think nowadays he's doing a lot of directing and we don't really speak to him too much, but we appreciate everything he's done for our careers. And then kind of the last, before we get into the music video and further discussion, Limp Bizkit and Puddle played together on Epicenter 2011, along with another one of Durst's former proteges, Stained. So definitely post-grunge, new metal bros stick together. I don't know if you got a firm talking to from the mob boss. Maybe that's why the Canary was singing a different tune towards the end there. But we kind of made an agreement before coming into the episode that addiction is not something to joke about, but the lip syncing, I think, is what we're talking about. Like, we were going to talk about She Hates Me in a Vacuum because, by all accounts, Puddle of Mudd is, well, I guess you even mentioned the lyrics to She Hates Me. I guess I'll give you the floor. What's your general feeling about all of this before we talk glowingly about the music video?
I do think the lyrics are problematic because, he's talking about, like, we were together for a week or two, and then, like, it kind of seems like, oh, she owed me this relationship. And, it seems a little entitled, yada, yada, little whiny boy rock. Seems almost very reminiscent of pop punk. Like, oh, I lost the girl, blah, blah, blah. But like, dude, after a week no one owes you anything ever. But especially after a week or two, I just wanted to get that out because I could feel people resenting the fact that people are praising the song, but again, we're trying to do it in the vacuum of this was a fun thing to yell when we were 10 years old, right? Is that fair?
It's probably the dream thing for a 10-year-old to scream. But you mentioned like emo real quick, and I wanted to mention that Blossom Reynolds, which is apparently an emo rapper, covered this song a couple years ago. There were some write-ups about it, and you can find the tune on YouTube. I couldn't find it on Apple Music, but yeah, it's brutal. It's very 303, it's a little tough to hang with. But I was looking for like headlines about the band coming up in researching the show, but that was one of the major ones. Other than the fact that they've continued to be very productive, but I'm not sure they've had similar success since Come Clean. I'm assuming it appears to be kind of a downward ball rolling downhill, or maybe that's gaining momentum and a positive thing. And I never get the hill analogies right, but either way. Things aren't what they were for the band from 2000 to 2010. Was this the first song that you found out about? Let me rephrase the question. There was, the dial-up era. There was a time when there was no internet, and then there was bad internet, and then since it got good, it's been just a different world, right?
Yeah.
I think my question, what I'm trying to ask is this one of the last things you remember hearing about through word of mouth and having it be a real, not that people don't talk about things at work and stuff anymore, but I guess, do you know what I'm trying to say, or can you help me out a little bit? Like,
yeah, I mean, again, the way that I came about this song was my sister just like came home one day and was like, oh my God, we have to like log on to the internet. We need to start the internet up and LimeWire this song. And it was like, yeah, it felt like in my memory, like the first viral song that I can remember. Absolutely doesn't mean it was the first one ever, but it was very word of mouth, because I wasn't posting this. I mean, MySpace wasn't even around then. AIM sub profile, maybe there were some quotes in there. But yeah, it was very like everyone talking about, oh my God, have you heard that song? Like, it seemed like this weird rumor that people couldn't believe it was true. There was a song this catchy that was this vulgar.
Yeah, I remember going over to my friend Dave's house. Everyone in the neighborhood was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. We got to go listen to this song at Dave's. And we had to gathered around his desktop, and it was like, apparently there's this guy, and apparently he swears in this song. We like went downstairs to make sure his parents were, not within earshot or whatever. And they did swear in the song, and it was like, oh my God, there's so much swearing. Oh my God. We all just kind of took it in for a while and were silent as we listened to the 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. I don't remember a ton of experiences like that after that one.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm trying to say that people haven't been saying ridiculous things always. I mean, if you're a part of our unofficial book club, and This Band Could Be Your Life, stories from the American indie underground in the 80s, people were doing obviously crazy shit before this, but it felt like an interesting point of note in terms of popular vulgarity. And then you were mentioning there was a difference between how the world perceived CeeLo Green's F*** you and she, parentheses, F***ing, and parentheses, hates me. Like that about 10 to 15 year difference between those two songs coming out. It was just two different climates altogether, two different, obviously the technology changed, but it wasn't as taboo. I guess internet culture has have we been numbed a touch, I guess? Again, not that weird things, you couldn't find weird things before, but they're more readily available, I guess, obviously. But it seems like it marks an interesting time, I guess, in music consumption, at least.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, over time, we've been desensitized to the content. I mean, think of Kiss talking about their love gun, and then years later, the Whisper song, wait till you see my dick, or whatever. Like, it was pretty drastic, right?
Which, again, in Erie, white middle-aged teachers not really recognizing the lyrics even to songs that you get halfway through at a dance or a skating party. It's just like, wait, what? Turn that off, man.
But,
oh, man.
But I think, and again, I don't know the complete history of music. I only know my perception of music.
Right. As
at
children,
the time.
it felt like wow, okay, he's saying it. That's a word I've read
so
recently,
yes,
and he's saying it.
There was the vulgarity aspect, but also what made this feel so big is that it was so catchy. Obviously there was vulgarity in music, but I don't feel it was as poppy as this was. I mean, obviously hip hop is in the old school rap. Of course, they had more intense and vulgar subject issues, but that wasn't something you were screaming the hook of, I don't know, Wu-Tang Clan or whatever. This was so everyone knew. The fact that my sister is the person who introduced me to this song, I think speaks to the volume of its mainstreamness, its poppiness. Everyone knew this song, and it's because everyone knew that everyone had to hear this song because it was so poppy and it was so vulgar. And again, we were all very angsty. We needed something to give us that anger release. And what's funny is, I said, we kind of changed the song to be more of a first person emotion, I hate you rather than she hates me. And 2 years later, Blink-182 came out with the song Shut Up. And that kind of turned into the version of what I wish this song was for me at the time. A very first person F you kind of anthem. I don't know what that what that rant was about, but anyways,
I think I might piggyback on it.
Let's do it
and say this. Yeah, sure. Hey, let's chat. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, bud.
Hey there, bud. Tom's throat's so sore. I think he just tried to say something.
I'm so sick.
Thanks for soldiering it out. Much appreciated. I say that sincerely. So I'll talk. I don't know if you want to get some water, but no. It's interesting. We're going to do Hawthorne Heights next week, and it's weird. We went into this decade thinking oh, haha, boomers. Yeah, whatever. You guys were cool or whatever. But I think we're learning that. And again, we're going to talk about Hawthorne Heights next week. I think the decade ended up being pretty hardcore and pretty goth towards the end. And I think history will show that people will generally be like, what the f*** is wrong with you? Like, what was going on? Like, I think it's funny to like, hey, we bit holes in our hoodie sleeves and put our thumbs through them or whatever. Like, oh, that's cute and funny. But also like, just, I don't know if moshing went anywhere, but there was like, I don't know if this opened the door to like, oh, okay, someone said in a song. Let's just get weirder and sadder as fast as possible for the next 4.5 to 10 years. And I think we'll learn as we go through that, not that it was cooler. I don't think anybody would claim that, but it was definitely darker and weirder and more intense than perhaps credit was given by.
Yeah, sure.
You know, there's that running thing that's dead now, but the whole participation trophy thing. But like the music scene got weird and rough, like pretty quick. Right, the kind of the DIY stuff came back and hardcore shows and stuff. But more on that next week. But I'm curious if this was one of the many doors that were opened leading into what ended up being ultimately a pretty weird decade. Like, oh, cool, somebody wrote a song with the F word in it. Let's cross off a ton of other boxes going down the list, leading to totally weirder, darker, screamier crap. I don't know if you feel there's any truth to that at all, but
I like it. I like that concept.
I guess we'll have to see if it plays out.
Yeah.
Okay. Enough of the plain Encyclopedia Brown stuff. I want to, whatever. We're doing a show. We hope you learned something. Fine. There's a story of Puddle Mud. They named their band after the puddles of mud near their house. Good for them. Either whatever. But I'm so ready to talk about this music video. Have you seen it?
I have.
Yes.
I watched it.
Good.
Again, dude, like when you're this young and I didn't have cable TV and MTV to show music videos, the concept of a music video was something that was very foreign to me. And I feel like there's so many songs that I loved from when I was a kid that I would never think to watch a music video of. This was one of them. I watched it for the first time 2 days ago and very into it. Yeah.
And can I just say this real quick, get this out of the way? Minka Kelly's in this music video, and I am currently binging Friday Night Lights, the NBC show about Texas football. She's also in that. So this week I've seen kind of the two biggest things she's seemingly ever been in. Apparently she was in 500 Days of Summer also. But quick aside about the show Friday Night Lights, in season 2, there's a guy named the Swede who's in a band. It's Shaky Graves, the artist, like the current artist. He played a musician in the Texas football TV show, and he's like the Texas football rocker now. So, grungy Texas grown up, Tim Riggins type, whatever. Yeah, I just thought that was a wild thing. Anyway, good for Minka Kelly, good for Shaky Graves. Okay, the music video. We're going to play a little game called Who Got There's Money. Oh my God, I'm going to start that one over again. We're going to play a little game, called Who Got Their Money's Worth while freaking out in this music video.
Oh.
There's several storylines to follow, and I would love you to play along, Tom.
All right.
Talk me through your first few thoughts on the video as you press play.
It starts off with the kid in class, right? Like that's the first thing we see.
Yeah, which is it's got to account for at least like 14% of all music videos is like going down the row of a class in desks, and there's like somebody who's about to do what you're not usually doing in class. I got to assume it's almost a sixth.
Yeah, he's tapping his foot, looking a little anxious, which in our current climate made me real nervous for the angle they were going to take, which is a little more sensitive than we usually do on the show.
Wow.
But honestly, for a second, I was like, oh God, what's the
You bring up an
kid?
interesting point. Yeah, I had no idea where they were going to take it. I'm like, okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. But then there's several other storylines revealed. We have a guy working a fast food job, also seemingly a teen. There's a janitor who seems to be an adult at a school, mopping. Dishwasher at a restaurant. There's a girl in a bedroom who's yelling into the phone, kind of probably going through a breakup. There's a kid in a restaurant eating with, I think, his parents. There's a football player in the middle of a game. And they're all just singing along to the band who is in the middle of, not an abandoned city, but like an alley, right? Maybe a Rust Belt town. There's not a lot of commerce going on, seemingly. But no fans. They're just singing slow. The song stays slow through the first chorus as well.
Yeah.
Which I kind of love. It kind of sets up the freak out later. Thoughts on them taking it real slow and just, I expected different, but I'm remember like, oh yeah, it's just kind of like, oh my gosh, they're swearing so quietly and everyone's so well behaved. Like, you're just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop for like the first minute.
Well, also, you try to think of like the pop music formula. They always talk about like get to the chorus as fast as possible. If you're taking more than 30 seconds, you're fucking up. The fact that they get to the chorus pretty quickly, but it's a very mellow version of the chorus is interesting to me because, again, they're a new band. You'd think they probably should have got to the rambunctious chorus as fast as possible to let people know what they're in for, but they took the riskier move, let it stay mellow so that it just grows throughout the song, and I applaud them for that.
Yeah, because they're singing along, and then, as it turns out, Tom, things take a turn.
Ooh.
Right? Yeah. Also, can I just say that the drummer in this video has next level flow? Like, he has great hair. It's just tremendous, flowing in the wind. Like when they bring in the drums and start to build everything. Yeah, just it's worth a shout out. I hope he listens. I hope he's like, yeah, you know what? I focused that day. But I think we start to see the kid in class. He gets up and we're like, okay, we're starting to freak out. I want to say this. The music video is the most self-aware music video I've ever seen in the sense that it's a good song to freak out to, and it's a music video about a bunch of people in public freaking out, right? Mm-hmm. I guess that's not that hot of a take. I thought that was going to land better. But
no, I mean, and that's what's so interesting is that this song, I didn't relate it to a relationship. And it seems like the people in the video are just kind of fed up with their point in life. And again,
like it's showing you what you're feeling throughout this. I guess like we talk about a bunch of music videos on the show, and some of them are way worse than others. But this one's just kind of like, yeah, I guess this is how I would want to listen to this song in any of these scenarios.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get ready to get to the freakouts?
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep it easy. The dishwasher in the restaurant just takes the spray nozzle and just splashes his own face with it. He's just sitting there singing into the running water as it presumably goes into his eyes and nostrils and mouth. It's a pretty good one. That's a bit of a breakdown. Maybe nobody witnessed it because he's in the back of the restaurant just on dish duty. Well, you as a dishwasher.
Well, let me tell you.
You've had experience with this. Yeah.
I've been a dishwasher for several restaurants in my early teen years. I can tell you why that guy went fucking crazy. Those low temperature dishwashers where they lift up, like the thin little stainless steel panels lift up. The one that's facing you is supposed to stay down so it doesn't just run hot water everywhere. All four corners of that thing lifted up, blasting hot water everywhere. I'd go crazy too. That's some bullshit design work on that dishwasher.
Yeah, it's not great. It's good insight.
Thanks.
And so this is like, he's not disrupting anything in public. I don't think the kid in the restaurant, I'm assuming they're at the same restaurant. I'm assuming these are all happening simultaneously, by the way. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because, and we'll get to that later, but the kid in the restaurant, his parents just kind of leave him. I mean, I know I just watched it, but now I'm kind of getting everything mixed. But there's just a kid in a restaurant squeezing the food between his fingers and kind of yelling. It's a pretty good tantrum, right? But he's a kid, maybe not too disturbing, right? Like, this isn't necessarily disturbed behavior at this point. Would you agree?
I related the most to probably this shot where he's just like embarrassing the parents and he just doesn't give a shit. Like, he just needs to freak out. Yeah, kind of squishing the food. I love it. Love the energy. It's a good freak out. Harmless.
Yeah. I mean, okay, let's give it a 1 out of 10. The dishwasher, I'm going to say a 6.5.
Okay.
And a kid in the restaurant, I'll give him a 7 because people are witnessing it.
Sure.
Okay. Do you agree with those grades?
I say the dishwasher 5. Squeezing the fingers a 7.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I like that because like you said, it could have been a malfunction with the thing. Like, the guy's just having a tough day at work. I'm not going to hate on him too much. Like, he's not exactly having a meltdown. He's just like, oh man, stinking darn machine that helps me. This is tartar sauce. So not too crazy. That's a good 5. But he's also not keeping his cool, so it shouldn't go below 5. Girl in bedroom. Seemingly, I don't think she's meant to be the girl in the song hating the person. I think she's also having a freak out of her own. And she just throws the phone and breaks it in her room. She doesn't really rip the pillows necessarily, but she's having a freak out. But again, this is another one of them that's in private. So I don't know if it's a 6 because you have a broken electronic. What do you think?
Oh, are we sure it was broken?
Well, that's the thing. It might not have been. There's a lot of stuffed animals in the room, so maybe it had a soft landing.
Because I was ready to give it a 4.5 because it's pretty private, pretty harmless. But if the telephone's broken, those see-through phones with all the colored wires, you don't want to lose out on one of those. Like that would warrant a solid 5.5.
Yeah, I mean, she's screaming at someone through the phone. I'm going to assume if it didn't break on that throw, there was a subsequent throw that broke it. I mean, you don't break, like when you have a psychotic break like that, I feel like you need to go over the edge enough to scare you enough to stop, right? So I think she would have at least, you know what I'm saying? Like you do that thing where you're like, uh-oh, like, oh my God, how did my fit of rage lead me to this? So I'm assuming she ended up breaking the phone one way or another because she kind of collapses on the bed later like, okay, my tantrum's over. Whatever. I'm going to give it a 5.5.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure that's not the house's main phone. It's probably, let's just assume that. Based on the number of stuffed animals, I'm guessing she, whatever. Sorry. Took too much time on the girl in the bedroom.
Is that Mika Kelly or whatever?
Yeah. Who at the end of 500 Days of Summer plays Autumn, as Joseph Gordon-Levitt characters is trying to get over summer. It's a good movie. Or maybe it's just an okay movie. I don't know. I liked it a lot though. Kid in Class and Kid Flipping Burgers. We're talking, these are some heavy hitting tantrums here. Do you want to chat and talk about them?
Yeah, borderline assault on the kid. Right? He's like pulling up his tie.
Both make contact with their superiors.
Right. Yeah, I wonder what the teacher did. He looked like a nice guy.
The thing is, he collapses into him while pulling in the tie. He gets up out of his chair, walking towards the teacher. We're like, uh-oh. And then he like kind of leans into him while having the break and sings into his chest and kind of like cries and collapses into him. So I don't think he was
in control of his own body.
The boy, he hands were used. I don't think he threw hands, but you could call it assault. But also, I think he needed the teacher in that moment as well. But it was also weird as hell. I think if you said a 9, I'd believe it. But I think it's more of an 8 because he was just maybe it was a literal cry for help.
Sure. Okay. No, that's
good. But
good.
the Kid Flipping Burgers, he yells at the customer and then kisses his boss while quitting, I'm assuming. Just like starts yelling and kissing people. And he's out. He's probably didn't return to work the next day. He probably didn't even go back to pick up his check. Do you think he picked up his check 2 weeks later?
God, I would love to see him go in like nothing happened, pick up the check, wink at the boss that he kissed, and walk right out. Yeah.
Okay, so that restaurant, I mean, the people who were there eating that day, having their little burger and fries and soda, the real American dream. They at least have a story to tell. Nobody seems to have gotten hurt. Maybe a few feelings, the customer that got yelled at. But this is where things, we're up in the ante a little bit. Where, again, I'm assuming these are all taking place at the same time in the same town. The janitor breaks a broom, right?
Yeah.
No, actually, let's start with the football player. He takes off his helmet and starts singing the lyrics. Meanwhile, the streets of the downtown area where the band's playing, everyone runs in when the distortion gets turned on. They hit the pedal. This isn't just like a clean guitar sing-along anymore. It's like, let's go nuts, right? Obviously, and it is illustrated by all these people going nuts. But again, it isn't so much that the quarterback takes off his helmet and destroys his own running back. He kind of collapses, sadness falls into him while taking him down, similar to the guy in the classroom. So I think it speaks to the type of relationship freak out where it's more of an emotional gut punch instead of like, no one's like getting the speedometer to 100 and crashing into a metal pole because they have lost their will to live. It's more of like a somebody help please type thing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I don't know if you felt the same way or noticed the same way that people were falling and yelling.
I guess I didn't realize it at the time. Yeah, it seems
if you go
like,
back and look, he's kind of like, it's not like a, it's like a, like, so anyway, that's just my interpretation. So, but you'll notice that the lights are on at the beginning of the football players freak out and the ref throws a flag. But then the janitor breaks his mop and then they cut to the band. And then they cut back to the janitor or something like that. And presumably he's wired the school to short out because that's when the sparks start fucking flying. And then at the game they fly. So obviously the power grid involves both the school campus and the football field. And the cheerleaders are cheering through all of this, which is just good for them. That's real spirit. Yes, it is. And
Let's hear
What's
it.
disturbing? Yeah, let's hear it. Spirit. Yeah, sorry, I was looking for a cheer. Thanks for rhyming something with spirit. The power grid apparently the school is located at the downtown metropolitan area because the lights near the performance also start to spark. So this janitor is facing just a laundry list of charges at this point. I would say full 10 out of 10 breakdown.
Oh, yeah.
Like, not only am I going to lose my job, I'm not just going to yell in this empty hallway. Lives are in danger. You know how many power lights probably went out? Like how many car crashes probably took place? The people coming home from the restaurant, like, oh my God, I just got yelled at, and all of a sudden the lights are out on the way home, and they get T-boned on the way back to their apartment or something. Like, this janitor is not a good man. Like, this is not. It's one thing to just like splash yourself in the like. So on the range of scale here, we're just I'm so mad. I'm gonna spray this like shower head in my own face. Basically, take a shower. To taking power out to a quarter of the town, right? Like, it's not advised, certainly. Is that an appropriate ranking in your eyes?
Oh, yeah, he took the whole damn city down with him.
I think the football player gets a solid 8.5, if not more, for...
Sure. Could have blown the game. It was the title ship match.
Oh, the game's blown. Yeah.
Title
in music
ship.
video universe, this is definitely the big game. I think it's safe to assume.
Oh, sports, man. Super important stuff.
Totally, dude. Hobbies, man. Passing the time before it all ends. But yeah, I like very self-aware music video. I got to say, again, in a vacuum, what lip syncing be damned. It's not like that one Ashley Simpson song wasn't kind of catchy. I think we're allowed to just speak in terms of the catchiness of hit songs. And this is definitely, it's one that it's hard not to be like, yeah, you know, if this came on the radio, I wouldn't turn it down, right? But not even like not even a Tommy Boy thing where it's like, I won't change it if you won't change it. Just like a legitimate, yeah, man, this is a good early 2000s rock song. But I don't think that's an endorsement of the band itself. Do you think that's where we're landing, or I don't want to speak for you?
So I watched this like mini doc on like the tragic story of Puddle of Mud, and it all centered around their lead singer because he's like the only original band member. They're on the third iteration of the band. It seems like a lot of the controversy was fueled by alcohol, cocaine, and probably a lot of self-loathing as well. I think things that happened are inexcusable, but it also seems like the singer sobered up. He's on a more righteous path. The band is touring. They're actually going to be in the neighborhood near Denver in a couple of weeks. I'm not going to go see them, but I mean, the past is inexcusable, right? Domestic abuse, tons of DUIs. I mean, this dude, we'll get political. If he were not white, he would have been killed by police. There were standoffs with like dozens of police, I guess, at one point. This dude's lucky to be alive right now. But I guess it seems like he's trying to not waste that luck in more recent times as he's sobered up, trying to make a better name for themselves and come back. Again, we're trying to do this episode in a vacuum. I don't know how my feelings really form around everything.
I'll say this. Here's a quote from Friday Night Lights for you. Courtesy of Connie Britton. There's no weakness in forgiveness, Tom. Also, this is going to be one of our recommendations this week. Jason Mewes of Jay and Silent Bob fame was on Dan Le Batard's South Beach Sessions recently, his podcast. He tells his story of drug abuse. So let's put this twist on it. If you know somebody you're struggling with, maybe it's a good listen. And of course, there are resources out there and numbers that you can call and everything like that. It's good to hear that he's not making those same mistakes currently, it sounds like. And they do have new music, which was surprising to me, to say the least. Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy how hand in hand drug abuse went with all the jail time. And apparently the dude tried to steal a luggage cart at the Denver International Airport or something just to go for a ride. Like, yo, drugs are bad, right? Whew. That's the moral of this episode. But
here's the moral of the episode. You know what I learned?
What?
Fred Durst is from Jacksonville, Florida. And that just kind of puts a nice bow on it, I think. So,
Florida man discovers puddle of mud, right?
yeah. Oh, God. You got me, partner. That's, yeah. I'm good to end it there, man. That's about it. That says it all.
Yeah, let's give our songs of the week. It seems like we're expanding to books and possibly movies and TV shows. I'm just going to recommend everything.
What are we into?
So let's do it.
John.
Yeah, so here's a dispatch from my sister who lives in Austin. It's Austin City Limits at the moment. She seems to be enjoying the work of Caamp. That's CAAMP, listed as an alternative folk group. She saw them down there, and they have some music out, an album called By and By. So it's good if you like that stuff. If you like Avett Brothers, you probably like it. Not my dream band, but she likes it a lot, and it's new, and it's better than me not having a music recommendation during our music recommendation segment. So also El Camino on Netflix. It's tremendous, is what I want to say. But I forgot how much.
Don't say
Jesse
anything.
Suffered.
Don't say anything.
Okay, I won't. I don't. Just stop it right there.
Wait. So your music recommendation was By and By by Caamp? What's that?
Yeah, By and By by Caamp.
Okay.
That's right, pal. And then and then El Camino is on Netflix. Gary Goldman, his series is streaming on HBO called The Great Depression. He jokes about his journey through depression, and he says his depression is now in remission, which is it's an interesting take on how dark it got, and it sheds cool light on all that stuff. So, and then Jason Mewes from Jay and Silent Bob. I guess Jay and Silent Bob the reboot is going to be in theaters pretty soon, and he went on probably doing a bunch of shows, but was recently on Dan Le Batard's South Beach Sessions podcast, and it's a good listen because I did not even know that Jay from Jay and Silent Bob even had those issues. So pretty interesting. That's what I've been listening to and watching lately.
Lots of stuff. So the Queen Amanda descended from her throne a couple weeks ago to ask if I had ever listened to Hot Mulligan. And I think that's the band that my buddy AJ went on tour with. They've kind of it's one of those things where it's I've been meaning to listen to them, but I needed one more recommendation to throw me over the edge to do it. So her messaging me kind of put me over the edge to listen to it, and I've been super into Hot Mulligan. Their whole album is good, but Good Old Mr. Rags is probably one of my favorite from that album. Thank you, Amanda, for the recommendation. It was kind of cool to get some recommendations back because she also reached out at one point saying that she appreciated our recommendations. So, in case it wasn't obvious, we are definitely open to recommendations on Twitter at _reminiscentfm. You can hit us up there. You
sly bastard. I was just going to come in with the Twitter tease. That's good. Good on you. Good on you. That's where we're most active, but we're also active on Instagram. Is that right?
That's more of a artistic display, whereas Twitter is for engagement, I guess, is kind of how we're partitioning those two. But our Instagram is definitely worth checking out. We kind of up the,
it looks good.
Up the there. Thanks, man. My book for this week, I pre-ordered it months ago. I kind of forgot it was coming in. It is False Knees, an illustrated guide to animal behavior. It's one of my favorite illustrators. He makes these really funny 4-panel illustrations of crows and birds and squirrels and stuff. And what's it called where they give human characteristics to things? But anyway, it's really funny commentary on human behavior, but it's portrayed through illustrated animals, and they're so funny. The crows are the goth kids on South Park, as you would imagine them, and they're so funny. I've bought some of his prints before and put them in custom made frames that I made a while ago. I've really been enjoying the book. It's a coffee table book with all of his illustrations, just so funny.
Nice. Here's a quick side question.
Yes.
What's the difference between a coffee table book and a bathroom book?
Oh, I don't know. I think coffee table books might be more illustrative. Is that a word? More for the pictures.
Maybe bathroom, it's more magazines and Reader's Digests. Maybe I'm way off on that.
For the articles, right?
Of course.
And then TV show.
I think you made a Playboy joke there about Reader's Digest, and now I'm just envisioning if the two offices had to merge at some point. But
yeah. And then the last thing here, Letterkenny season 7 came out, and it is, I was worried they'd become too self-aware and they would try to make a Letterkenny season, like, you know what I mean when I say like self-aware, like they're just trying to do the things that people know them for.
I think they've been self-aware since like late season 1, but that doesn't mean I haven't gotten joy from some of the episodes.
Well, maybe that's not the right word, but they're not like overdoing it. It's not forced. It still feels natural, but like every word that comes out of their mouth feels like a greatest hits or something. Like it's just on point. The story's good. It's so funny. And there's things that remind me of like us when we started out podcasting, and they do a lot of like weird rhyming stuff, which is like what we had done a lot in Ron Carnage. Not to give myself any credit for that, but just good. I mean, I love Letterkenny, but new season on Hulu.
You literally came up with the name. By the way, if you want to go on Amazon and buy the book, go ahead. I dare you. But yeah, this was an interesting one. It's a good song. I'm willing to live with that sentiment.
Yeah, it's a good song in a vacuum, and I like the fact that the music video was aware enough that like people didn't really give a shit about the story of the song, the breakup. They just wanted to scream something angry and say "f**k," and that's all the video was. Nothing more, nothing less. And
yes,
it's good.
And that janitor, he's going to jail for sure. Maybe prison, honestly though. It seems like putting a lot of lives at risk working with children and all that. So maybe the background check procedure at the school.
Think of all the wages lost during that blackout.
A lot of wages. Got to think about the wages. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with it. Although I will say this, between this and the Hoobastank episode, Crawling in the Dark and Blurry are songs I would have had no other reason to hear again since like 2005. So yeah, we're in it together, man. At least we're not having to do this alone, which is nice because it's quite the journey. But yeah.
Yeah, and as mentioned, we are getting more back into our wheelhouse next week with Hawthorne Heights, which was a hell of a band in high school. Holy hell. I'm excited to get into that, and we have some really cool news that's going to come out on the 21st that you don't even know about.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Hey.
The listeners don't.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too, man. Well.
Anything else going on? You good?
I'm good, dude. I'm just trying to get over being sick, man. I got like strep throat or something, and it's making my ears. Dude, I'm a mess, man.
Yeah, Jesse's going to California to visit her sister, and she's got a little sore throat thing going on as well. So it sucks because the weather's not quite cool yet, and nobody likes to be sick when the weather's still warm. So
yeah, bullshit.
Anyway, hopefully by the next time I talk to you, I'll have carved a pumpkin or something by then. But
yeah,
one can only hope. But yeah, tweet at us. What do you like? What's going on? How are you? Other than that, I love you, man. Nice chatting, and I guess I'm glad this one's over with.
Love you too, dude. See ya. So she may fucking hate me, but we fucking love you for making it all the way through to this episode. Thank you so much as always. Please tweet at the show at _reminiscentfm and let us know the first time you heard this song, what it meant to you, if it was a good release of all that teenage angst that Pat and I were about to feel at the time. Hit us up. You know we love talking to you. Let us know what songs you want to hear coming out from us in the future. And check out our Instagram page. It's pretty sick. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Love you. Bye.